Welcome to the Patron Studio Podcast, the place where artists and entrepreneurs get together. I'm your host Diego, a musician and entrepreneur myself, looking to connect with the humans on and behind the stage that make music happen. Fasten your seatbelts and let's go! So before we start with the interview with Fabio, I want to keep you up to date with some stuff. First of all, I have a new studio shared with some great musicians. So it took me a while to adapt, and I'm still adapting to the elements that we have here, the room itself, and this routine of working in this place. It's actually awesome because it takes me a while to go from home to there by bike, and it's cool. It's introducing sport and some movement, and that's really cool. The other thing is that for this interview, I was using a microphone from the guys that are in this studio, and I was really hurrying up to set up before my guest came. So I set up everything quickly. The table was weird and too big. There was this couch at the beginning, so the room was very tiny and annoying, and there was cables here and there. Anyway, I didn't check that this microphone that I don't know, I never used, was actually put in the wrong position. So the first half of our conversation was recorded wrong. His microphone was pointing to me, and that made the sound very horrible. But we were actually talking about personal stuff like loosening it up, and we found some common ground in the type of music we like. And Fabio told me he's a big fan of Da Vinci, for example. That he really likes art. He appreciates every type of art form. He's like a big fan of art in general. That's really cool. Yeah, we were catching up mostly, so we didn't talk about the topic of this podcast, which is connecting and networking. Luckily, in one of the breaks, he went to the toilet, and I realized this thing of the microphone, so I turned the microphone around, and now the rest of the interview, I mean, what you're gonna listen after this, is recorded properly with the microphone in the right direction. And hey, I'm a musician and engineer since, I know, a million years, and this shit can still happen when you don't have time, where you're stressed and hurried, and on top of that you have new elements. You can fuck up, so it's all right. So without more introduction, here's Fabio, and we're gonna talk about Weavii. So tell me more about, first, how do you pronounce it? Is it Weavii?
Weavii.
I like that. Tell me more about it. It's about connecting musicians with musicians and with business people.
Yeah, I'll tell you what we're doing now and what is gonna be, because of course, as any platform, it's gonna take several stages to arrive where we are, like where we want to be as a vision. So now what we are creating is a professional network. We took the dynamics that we've seen in the community of artists through research, the talking with them, and we are creating. You can say a LinkedIn equivalent for artists. So what artists can do, can create their own portfolio. So everything is guided in a sense that the platform is structured to create a portfolio according to the needs of the industry, and you can discover other artists. You can see what artists are open to collaborate to, so you can find the whole set of talents and collaboration types that the artist wants to do. And then in the platform, there is a marketplace for opportunities. These opportunities will be collaboration at first, because the first thing that we do is to onboard only artists so that the community start taking place. So artists start talking to each other, start creating together. So we will enable the matchmaking and giving the tools to find what they're looking for, or the person that they're looking for. Once the community starts taking shape, we will start onboarding businesses. On the business side, So the marketplace at that point would be collaboration. So the opportunity will be collaboration plus projects, gigs. So the business side, there are two macro categories. One is talent buyers. Talent buyers are venues, are event organizers, are entertainment production companies like theaters, like film production, and so on. Can be corporates for corporate events, for product launch, let's say branding activities. They use artists, which, by the way, this is a small parenthesis. By the way, is a very yet undervalued topic. Like the use of art, like big companies are doing this and are taking a big advantage of this. How to use art to also promote your business. There is a part of education that we will try to give through data information to the businesses on how much art can be valuable for return of investment from the small business, because we have data on bars and pubs that when they have artists, then on the spending on the artist, they have up to 5 times the return of investment on, and they don't know, because most of there are some bars and pubs, if we are talking about these small venues, that think that artists are expensive and then they're not worth, and others that want to work with artists but they don't know where to find them. Unless some artists come and like organic talk, right, word of mouth, the one that we talk, then they don't have an idea. So a part is going to be also trying to educate. But yeah, you can divide business in talent buyers, so all these kind of businesses, and talent managers. Talent managers are, for example, the booking agents or general managers, right? So on the talent buyers part, what the business can do in the platform at the beginning would be to create a page, show what also they are doing on the artistic side. Exactly similar to LinkedIn, just that they show it on the business side of what the business is doing. Here is a business/artist side, so how they are involved with art. But as the most important thing, they can recruit, find the best match for the artist, and hire the artist. So decide which artist is the best for them. So the discovery and the sourcing. And then select the few they want to work with, and then pay them. So manage the whole financial and legal flows, because there are also contracts and that we will enable. So enable the two parties to stipulate a contract for any performance, whatever that is. Can be a performance, but it can also be just a project, like a delivery of something, right? So this is the beginning for the talent buyer. So we create tools to make this good. The evolution of the talent buyers part is going to be also creating tools for auditioning. So, for example, for event production companies or theaters that they want more. Like we call like a super user on this side, because there are people that work with artists on a daily basis. They want to hire artists on a weekly or monthly basis. So tools that resonate with their current processes, and we're talking with these kind of businesses to shape that. And then the talent manager will be, of course, you can discover and connect everything in the platform, but we will create specific solutions to help them manage the group of artists they have, find opportunities for their artists, manage the schedule, the tours, manage the relationship with the promoters, for example, if we're talking about music. So a whole system that will make this easy, because I've seen how they're working now and they are super inefficient. Like the thing of the artistic is that also the one that work with the artists are very inefficient. They still work with emails, spreadsheets, and like calls and messages. Everything is all over the place.
One thing, sorry for interruption, but
no.
This spreadsheets thing. One thing in this workshop I was assisting to for booking.
Yeah.
one girl said like, yeah, there are spreadsheets available with venues, and I told her I tried one of them, but they are so quickly out of date.
Yeah.
Like venues close, or this person is fired, so it's not the booking management. So you lose a lot of time. And I think to have like a database that is up to date, you know, like the gigs and the bookers and there's all there, and maybe like matching it. For example, I put one of my projects is progressive rock and metal. It's a 5-piece band, and it's catering to a specific audience. If I could build my profile to that, and then there will be assistants saying, okay, then maybe you want to play in this gig, or this festival, or talk with this booker and all that, because it's really hard to find like this matching of what you are actually doing to the person who will really work with you. I was struggling with promoting a song, for example. I went to these pages that have magazines and curators and all of that, and I found them by genre. Like, okay, metal. I sent to like 20, and I think 15 say like, no, I'm actually not really like doing this type of metal. I'm doing this other thing. And the same for booking agents, or I was trying to get more deeper into the soundtrack thing, because I did some soundtracks, and they were all saying like, no, it's not really my type of artist. Like, how do I get before I send an email? There's no way to know. It's just an inefficient way. Like, okay, they don't answer maybe, and second, if they answer, it's like, it's not specifically the thing I'm doing, but there's nowhere to read about it.
Exactly.
And this list, you can just Google rock band manager, and you might get like 3,000 managers, from which maybe then you contact 20 and the 20 say no, but actually your could have been the number 33, and you never contacted them, because all of this waste of time and waste of energy discouraged you to continue looking for your manager or for that festival that will actually book you.
Of course.
So it will be nice to have some help on that matching and like curating lists of the right people for you.
Yeah, I totally understand. And actually, that's what we're trying to aim, right? What we're aiming for, have this database that is also has a very collaborative and nice user experience that you enjoy having, like a place that you feel your home, and also where you feel you can share updates. As a musician, you can share updates on what you're doing. You don't need to have a finished job all the time, but you can just have like a work in progress thingy, but you can also share the gigs that you have been, or the projects you have been part to, the collaborator you had.
That would be really cool.
But at the same time, you can also find the right person, because that person, of course, like hypothetically, but like good enough, like will define himself in a way so that is tailored for a specific niche, and if that's true, then the platform will perfectly match with you, or you will be able, if it's not the platform matching you, it's you finding in the platform, right? Through the algorithm of the platform. So I understand that, because what I was talking with.
Sorry, can you get closer to the mic?
Sure.
Yeah, nice.
I understand this because when I was talking with the booking agents, I was like, I'm seeing how they work. Like they were the first one to say, yeah, it's super inefficient, and it's like, yeah, how many artists can you manage? And I say 4 or 5, or like something like that. I mean, one agent. Then of course in an agencies there are more agents. But the thing is that if I cut you 90% of the time you spend on these inefficient processes, then you can manage more artists, because managing the artist is not just finding the gig, is also negotiating the contract, stipulating the contract, so also putting out the paper and deciding, okay, accommodation, like we're talking about musician now, but again, it's very similar across verticals. We're talking about accommodation, we're talking about trip, we're talking about food, we're talking about there is equipment, or should I bring mine, because small venues might not have equipment, all these kind of things, right? And it takes time for a booking agent or for an artist that is managing himself, right? So if I cut a big chunk of this, then a booking agent, instead of managing 5 artists, and manage 15, 20. And so the whole industry grow, right? At the same time, if I tell a venue that finding this artist that is good for him, he can maximize his revenue this way, he will be more willing. So that's actually what we're also aiming for. Not just first of all, we want to work as enabler. Like, we're not cutting industry players out, or we try to work as enabler. But at the same time, educating those businesses that have a curiosity but don't know what to do, and so on a part, raise the demand and raise the efficiency at the same time. And this is what the first 3 phases are about. So is the community, so the professional network, the marketplace, and the services for the business in talent buyer and talent managers. So this is gonna be probably the first. I guess 3 years of work, but our real goal is to close the loop. And to close the loop, there is an important part that is missing. That are the audience, the people, because art is for people, right? Art is culture, and culture evolves only if people can access to that, get inspired, and resonate with that, or get challenged by that. It's we're talking about emotions here, right?
Yeah.
So one of the and by the way, in art, compared to any other industry, in art, the niches are super powerful. So connecting let's say small artists, although I don't like to say this word, I say less known artists with their niches will help them monetize it. Well, let's say make a living, because at the end this is a relationship you want to create. Because we talked before about the distance between the people and the artist itself, right? That is created now. Well, I think that there is a lot of potential in making people being part of the dream. I have some artists that I love, and if I could support an artist, and if in any way I could feel closer to the artist, and being part of a dream, and we use this expression, I would be willing to also spend a little bit to do that, right? Or support the art, meaning maybe have access to some premium stuff that is only for me as a super fan. Like super fan in music are very important. I think they spend 35% more than the average fan. They engage 40% more in music
but
and songs.
It's really, I think every artist is aiming from the beginning to make everyone like your music. And that's why it's been more like generic and not so diverse. So not everyone is doing their thing. They're trying to appease the world.
Yeah.
But if you talk about money, you make more money if you have 20 super fans than being viral. You become viral, and that doesn't mean that they're gonna come to your show. I was experimenting that on my own skin. I had this band in Uruguay I told you I was famous for. We had like our average view of every video we uploaded was like 80,000. But when we made a gig, we had 40 people. So
that's crazy.
There's no relationship. One thing is being viral and funny and known, and the other thing is having a connection with people that will make them go to your shows and pay the tickets and buy your stuff. There's a huge difference. And I think that's this one-sided type of content can entertain a lot of people for a while.
Yeah.
But engaging and creating communities or something like that, that's the hard part. And that's the long-term success thing that you will do. If you engage people, I think also if you engage young people right now, they will never forget you through their whole life. you don't forget the bands you were listening as a teenager or in your 20s.
And by the way, they look for art diversity more than our generation. Like the young people, in average, look for 30% or like 25%. I think I've seen in the research I found that 25% more diverse range of artists rather than us.
And they are open to exploration. They are growing and exploring, and their brain is still developing. But once you are like over your 30s, you're fine with what you have, like mostly. And also there's another thing, like sometimes I meet new people who are not musicians, and I ask them, what music do you like? They say radio. There's no interest. It's just I just turn it on and music comes out of it, and I live my day through that. And that's such a they are assuming music is there anyway for free, and then there's other people who are younger that are totally burning for this artist and there. And I have been on small tours, like really small tours from small bands, and there were 1, 2, or 3 people who were following us the whole tour for like 4 days in a row and seeing us play.
Nice.
One show after the next one. And
that's cool.
We were arriving to the gig, to the venue, and their car was already parked there. Like, hey, like, what? But those people, like, if you have more of those people, you don't need a million of those. You just need 10 or 20, and you can start.
Exactly.
So there should be like an education or a way or a new culture, which I think it's coming, in which new artists, young people realize like you don't have to be viral. You just have to engage and find the people that will like what you do. You don't have to adjust what you do to be liked by more people. It's not, that's the teenage approach. When you start to accommodate to your social environment to be liked, and you are miserable, then when you get into your 20s and you start to figure out, I was actually not like that. And then you get on your 30s and you kind of have it figured out, and you look back and it was all a mess. The same with music. If you make music to make everybody else happy, you will not be like 100% an artist, because you're not coming from within. You're just trying to fit somewhere with your music, like, hey, I made this, you might like it,
which is a normal process, because if you don't know that you can find a niche, and there is the possibility to find a niche and be appreciated by a small even by a smaller group, but actually make a living and monetize that group because they like you and they're really super fans, then it's normal that you kind of fall to the trend, you try to fit in. But because that's also the education, right? There is a learning process, because nobody tells them, hey, look, that actually this can work. Because to tell them that this can work, they also need to know, okay, how can I do it? If there is no place that I can do it, rather than organically trying to put things out everywhere you can and see if I can find someone, then it's easier to just fall back to the behavior of, okay, this is a trend, maybe I get into some playlist and that's it, right?
Yeah, and this thing also that at the end, is there someone having a rave?
Yeah, there's someone.
Fuck me. I swear I have been here in this studio for 3 weeks already. This never happened so far.
Okay.
It always happens like later, like in the night, where everybody comes out of work and they start doing this.
They're practicing for tomorrow.
Yeah, but I'm a magician with audio, so I can take all of this shit out.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's something, for example, when I produce other artists, when I work for them, some of them are on this stage of finding their voice. And they always come with suggestions of other artists, like I want to sound like Taylor Swift, but you're not Taylor Swift. Your life is different. So I know you like Taylor Swift. I know. Okay, but we're not going to do a Taylor Swift cover or an imitation, because you are you have your universe. You have stuff to talk about.
Of course, everyone has. I mean, it's normal to try to imitate. I will say the right word is inspire. As Picasso was used to say, a bad artist copy and a good artist steal. It's normal to steal because innovation doesn't come out of the blue. Innovation comes from a standpoint that you see exactly, and then on that you say, okay, let me add this or that, let me put something on top, or let me take out something. It's not always adding, sometimes it's removing, and then innovation comes, right? Because you say, okay, this is something new, and then you mix it with something else. So it's normal to get inspired, but it's easy to get into the loop of copying because that's working.
But the thing I noticed is the overflow in these last couple years of remakes, and they're trying to sound exactly like the original. And you notice, like, okay, this is not the original song, it feels a little bit different, and it's someone trying to get on radio by doing a cover of that song sounding exactly like the original song. What I wanted to say is, at the end, the artists you really admire, that everybody loves, that are number one, they did something different. They were not copying the other artists of the moment. They were doing the new thing. They were innovating. So if you want to be successful like them, why are you not doing what they did, which it was coming out with something new, with your own voice and your own style and your own mixes? Like you said, let's mix some Latin stuff with Japanese stuff and see what happens. Maybe it will not work at once, but you will find your 10 super fans.
You learn, right?
Yeah.
And then you move on.
Yeah, and then you experience more than just going to the same producer that make the same type of beats or something like that. And you mentioned that, and it already happened, this Uruguayan pianist with a Japanese violinist, I think. And they did a world tour, and it was super interesting. Like, so two countries that had nothing to do with each other, and they were like creating something new out of nothing. And that's what I like from jazz and this whole jamming kind of thing, which you don't have a pre-written song or goal to do. You just come there with some rules. We don't do this, we don't do that. Let's see what happens. And you start talking with your instruments.
Yeah, exactly. It's a language.
That's something that's so interesting to see. And I don't know if I didn't tell you, but I have this progressive metal project. And I'd say progressive metal because I had to put a name to it. And I'm doing all of the instruments, like everything, composing and drums and guitar and singing. And I'm doing that here in my studio. But I'm gonna, now in April, I'm gonna get a band to do. And when I have been playing here in other bands, what everybody tries to do is to sound like they're recording. And they put these backing tracks with all of this extra stuff they did in their studio on their own to try to sound exactly like that live. And I don't know what the audience feels about that, but from the musician point of view, it's very constraining. It's like being a talking head on the news, like you have your teleprompter and then you're reading and talking, like, okay, you're talking, but you're not really talking.
Yeah.
And that happens so often in these music scenes in the rock and metal. They try to professionalize so much and try to be so much perfect. And I think the world is control more what's happening on stage and playing to backing tracks and stuff.
Yeah.
That at the end, we are missing this. It's so scripted, and that's what I like from jazz. For example, when like real people start to figure out stuff, of course you have the standard and you have the moments and stuff like that. But what's happening there is the flute player feels today under the weather and doesn't feel happy, and he's gonna play some different stuff. And then tomorrow he's gonna be super happy, he won the lottery, he's gonna play different.
It's authentic,
and that's what I'm trying to achieve with the live experience of this band. That I got some great musicians that they have a lot of knowledge, and they could, if I tell them do whatever you want, they will know what to do. So I will relinquish all of this control, because I already did my recording. and if people listen to the song, they're gonna listen to me. But when we're gonna go live, I want everybody on stage to have fun and express themselves. And if the guitar solo, the guitarist is feeling that the audience is like demanding something from him, and then he has to turn the guitar on fire,
Exactly.
he will have to do. And if we have to extend the solo section, it's just trying to look at each other and say like, continue, because this solo is burning.
Yeah.
You know, that freedom, that communication. I think that's
You're feeling the moment, right?
this two-way thing. The audience is giving you something, you're giving something back. You're talking with the audience. And I think when you have everything with click and planned and everything is synchronized, it's like you press play and the band does this thing, and then the people at the end clap, and then comes the next song. That's something I'm not enjoying at all.
It's fake, and that's not also why I will go to a concert. I want that authenticity. I want also that part of music so I want a glimpse on the backstage. I want to see on the studio recording, because on the studio a lot happens. People improvise some part, and they joke, but the joke with they play with music, right? And sometimes someone try this, and sometimes the other person tries that, and there's that authenticity, and this is exactly what I would like to experience to any concert. And like sometimes I watch videos of this kind of artist, again mainly past artists, but I don't know. For example, I was looking at a video of Red Hot Chili Peppers the other day. Were playing Californication by the concert. I think the concert was an old concert in Los Angeles. But to arrive to Californication, they started at a point, and they started just playing music.
I saw that 3 days ago. I just put on YouTube Red Hot Chili Peppers live. There was an entire concert, and I thought, okay, they're gonna start with this song. No, they just started jamming. The drummer started playing, then the bassist started, and they were jamming like 10 minutes.
Exactly.
And people were like, yeah! Like if it was the most famous song they were expecting.
Yeah.
But there was a jam, and I was thinking like, is this the only band existing now that does that?
Yeah.
The only rock band who still jams, like in Woodstock kind of thing, It's so romantic.
It's amazing. And then just after that, 10 minutes smoothly connected to Californication, which they were. And you see that also Californication was an interpretation of the moment. Right? Californication as a melody and as a rhythm, but everything was like the accents were slightly changed. The beats were slightly out or slightly in, slightly later or before. So everything was in the moment. They were just feeling the audience, and this is the kind of experience that I love. Like the other day, I went to this couch. A concert, let's say couch gig. It was in the house of a person that organized this small gig. And first of all, I like this more intimate setup. I love the concerts, but I also nice to be like in a small setup, like 40, 50, 100 people, no more. And the person is talking to the artist is talking to you, is telling you, okay, this song for me has this reason, or that's why I wrote in which moment, or like I didn't write like this song. It was written for this reason, but then my friends told me that was amazing, so I slowly started to like it, and then it started resonating with part of my life. So now I'm playing it, but I wanted to say that at the beginning I didn't like the song that I wrote. So there was this authenticity, like this connection, which was amazing, because it was not just. Okay, I come here, I play 4 songs or 10 songs, and then 1 hour, and then I leave. No, it was, okay, let's communicate. Let's use music, a bit of voice, but let's mostly use music as a language, and let's communicate in that moment. And it's missing. I agree with you. I think that's what I meant when I say there is a distance with the musician. It's part of the topic, which we will try to. The good thing is what we're seeing is that there are platforms that are coming out on the. I think the future, not only for music but for art, will come back to live and audience engagement, because that's also where I see. I mean, yes, there are musicians can also monetize from a project. For example, let's say a big automotive companies is calling you because they want you to create, to produce.
They will not call anyone else. They have AI.
Yeah.
They will buy one computer and like make me a song for this. Let's talk about that later.
But I think the future will be on audience engagement and live events back, because I see also the platforms that are coming out and they're trying to solve maybe individual problems, but they're going in that direction. I'll try to leverage the super fans. I try to leverage the people that believe in your art. Which, when I say leverage, I mean in a good way. I repeat the concept of being part of a dream. It's not that just because I'm paying, I'm used by the people. I actually am happy to pay an artist that I love because it can continue, I can support, or maybe I can be close to him, I can have access to premium stuff, or I don't know, I have better tickets to whatever. Like there is a series of benefit, but I will be happy to be closer and also support him economically. And I see platforms are going this direction. I think the industry is growing there again. Like live streaming, if we're talking about music, but in general, like digital shows of or like displays are not good anymore. Like they are part of the all. If you think in music, the biggest change that has been in the last 20 years has been Spotify, and that didn't even be, it hasn't even been a positive change. Yes, there have been the CDs, MP3 marketplaces, and then there was Spotify, but
Napster in between.
Yeah, Napster in between, or that was the other one, Pirate something.
The Pirate Bay.
Yeah, Pirate Bay, exactly.
I love those guys.
Yeah.
There was a movie talking about them when they were like everything is documented, even when they were hiding from the FBI, and they were showing all of these letters from Sony and Universal telling them to stop. Was really they have a really cool story. What you were saying, I think. I tell everyone that there's this pendulum in culture that takes like 20 years in one direction, 20 years in another one, like an entire generation or two, you know? And I think at the moment the pendulum is going to this niche, local kind of culture. Because if you talk to any music consumer or any person who's not a musician, they're all saying like, nobody's authentic. Everything is plastic. Every movie on Netflix looks like this Hollywood shit, and everybody is more like, okay, I want to see like an independent film.
Yeah,
I want to see something made in Italy or France, and not all of this copy paste, because you start to see the patterns. If you have some intelligence, you start to see like, okay, everything is Rambo now.
Yeah, exactly.
And with artists, it's the same. I go to concerts, and specifically in Germany. In Uruguay, it was very different. Everybody was really just playing music because there's no industry of music there. It just, let's make music and have our friends. And everybody was more like there and being free on stage. But here, as there's this industrial approach, there are schools that teach the kids how to behave on stage and what to say and choreographies. And my wife, she was a guitarist, and she went to one of those academies. And it's crazy. They just put a lot of kids together in a band, and they say like, okay, and now you say this to the audience, and now you come and you do like your signature move like a football player. You know, it's so stupid. You cannot industrialize people like that, because at the end they make a band, they go and play, and they make a fool of themselves on stage. I saw a band. There's a band we like with my wife. It's called Ginger. They're from Ukraine. And we went to see them in Hamburg in a small concert, very small concert. The band playing before them, they had this attitude, like they did the course of how to be a band. And they were like, okay, everybody here, hey, I see you. It was a small club. We were 40 people. And they were behaving like if it was Wacken. Like they were not connecting to what was happening. They were... First, chill down. You're opening.
Maybe they were high.
No, they were not high. They were they didn't look high. They were super sober, and they had these expensive guitars and this expensive gear, and everything was like super expensive, and there was a lot of investment there. And they was like, I want everyone for the next song to give your 200% here. And everyone was just like, I didn't pay the ticket to see you. And they sounded very bad. They have expensive stuff, but they didn't sound good at all. They were just having money, and they did the course of how to behave like a band. And then came the real band, and the guitarist had a cheaper guitar and one amp and one pedal, and sounded 30 times better than all of these other chunks with thousands of euros in gear. But the attitude was different, because this band we paid to see was coming out and being themselves. They didn't went to the pop academy and try to learn the moves to engage audiences. They were just being them, and they were being shy maybe, or they were not really like talkative. They were just playing the songs, but that's what we wanted. And I see that so much in festivals and stuff. These people who were going like academically trying to be a pop band, but I think that you cannot teach authenticity. You just have to. I think to teach authenticity, you have to take people out of these loops. Like, okay, just play on the street. Play on the street.
Exactly.
Busk a little bit, and you will start to see that you do something and people like it. And then you do something you like and nobody likes, then you start to see like, okay, this new language. Okay, what is it that people want? And also you will learn, I was busking also at my first year in Berlin. You will learn like, you come with an idea of something, this is going to make everyone crazy. Nobody gives a shit about that. And then you play something like, oh, fuck it, I'm gonna do this other thing just because it's easy. And then people get around you and they start clapping and dancing. So there's like a hidden language there that you can only experience if you're out there doing the thing like very often. So you can prepare your concert like one concert a year or one concert every 5 years, and you can prepare and you can plan everything, and this is gonna go like this and that and that, and then you never had this connection to the audience. You were on your own, on your rehearsal room. And then when you go live, you suck, and you don't know why people were just crossing their arms, because you were planning too much. You weren't letting the moment to be. And that's what I wish it happens more, and that's what I'm seeing the new generation. These guys who are like teenagers or in their early 20s, they are doing that. They're going back to being there. They are needing that, and they're also celebrating a lot all of the old stuff from the 70s. They are going back to that, and I'm seeing kids.
It's true.
And they are singing Bohemian Rhapsody out of their lungs. But the people who are now in their 30s or late 20s, they don't do that anymore. But the younger ones, they are like wearing t-shirts of the Ramones. And I was going in the bike in the night last summer, and there were a bunch of kids with their phones in the corner, and I thought like, these stupid kids with their phones. And one put Metallica, like, listen, I discovered this, and started, I think it was Slayer or Metallica. I was like, fuck yeah. Wow, they flipped me like a pancake in the moment. I was like, oh yeah, and they were so tiny, and they didn't look like metalheads or anything like that, but it's like, look, Metallica, like Master of Puppets. Yeah, man.
Nice. That's lovely.
That's awesome.
That's super cool.
Yeah,
like again, like touch some very important points. So it one about the localization, as you say, right?
Also, I forgot one point. I'm seeing nowadays that bands are complaining that touring is getting way too expensive. And I think now that you say that, it starts to like set down into, okay, now maybe bands have to play locally. Also the ticket prices. We wanted to see Pearl Jam. First, it's impossible to get a ticket. And if you get it, it's 140 euros or something like that. And AC/DC is playing again, and the tickets are almost 200 euros. So for the audience, it's too expensive to see these global hits. But maybe to pay 12, 15 euros to see the next Berliner kind of thing, it's more affordable. It's more affordable for the artist, they get some people who cannot pay the tickets for Pearl Jam.
Totally agree. You made me remind the point. So, like a musician I knew told me that he had to substitute to replace a guitar player of this band because like they call him and he was sick. Like the original guitar player, they had like a gig. They had to go and say okay. They did like some kind of interview. So he went to play the concert and he said, like, this band is it's a bit known in Berlin, but in Germany not. It's just a bit known in Berlin. And he was like shocked because he went to the event and he said there were probably 2,000 people, but crazy. At some point, I was not part of the band. That's what he told me. And at some point when we left the stage, people were just asking me the autograph. And I was like, really? What the fuck? Because, like, again, this band was good, but not popular. It was just a bit known in Berlin.
Yeah.
So talking about super fans, right? Like you have 2,000 people, maybe even 500 of them are super fan of yours. And you can organize a concert a month easily in Berlin. Like that's depends on how much music you play and how much the ticket cost. And I think touring in one country is not so difficult. Touring in multiple countries, it takes more effort on organization and everything. The other day I was talking with a booking agent in Indonesia, which is like it's facilitating the visa to bring artists from Australia, from New York, from like different artists to Indonesia to play, to Bali, to Jakarta, and super complex, like also to move this stuff, right? Okay, this is a super international, right? You go from US to Indonesia, but this is usually the case I think the more far the farther the more difficult it is. But yeah, just what the point was, you can have a following at the local level, especially if you live in Berlin. Of course, if you live in a small city, you need to go to the bigger, the closest one that is bigger enough. But you can do it. Like you can really make a living, start getting famous, sell CDs, merchandising, because super fans buy also a lot of merchandising, and then you don't need to be Metallica to sell merchandising. So that's definitely one important point. And the other topic you touched, I forgot.
Young generations.
It was about independent artists. You're totally right. I think one thing that the audience thing that is gonna be our third phase of the platform. We'll start exactly from this. First, I mean, easy things are events, right? You can get in touch with the audience with events, but on top of events, you can create the audience engagements solutions. We have a lot of ideas on that, but they're going to come in the future. But for example, I always find out I love to go to gigs, but I don't have a place where I can go and easily discover what is going on around me. Like I'm here, what is going on around me in terms of art? And often I live close to Mauer Park, so often I go there because I know that during the spring and summer there are artists, and sometimes I find very good artists. And I love to actually more than sometimes in Berlin there are a lot of good artists, and they also have the CD there and everything. But the thing is, I don't know where these artists are, because there are some platform, but they are mostly to sell tickets. There is not an artistic discovery.
Yes.
And which is a big problem, because selling tickets is just one part. Because if I know the artist, okay, I can find the tickets. But if I don't know the artist, but I want to discover a new artist, or I like the music it does, I need to first discover that artist, and then I can decide, okay, let's go to the park to listen. Maybe there is no ticket, but at least I know he's playing there. And in the concept of independent artists, if you create a structure that is lean and elegant and easy to use, an independent artist can organize things on his own. It can think in a process where You find, let's say, from the independent artist point of view, you find a couple of other artists. So that's the project or collaboration. You find the venue, you organize you pay who you have to pay, like the venue, the other artist, you organize the gig, you sell the tickets, and you do promotion all in one simple flow. Like now it's not possible because it's all disconnected. You have one platform for this, one platform for that. Each use case has one platform, but actually there's a problem. Yesterday I had a meeting with a talent buyer. They organize big events. They work also with Kanye, work with a big artist, and he was working in in Asia before, and now he's in New York, and we were exactly discussing about this. Like it's all over the place. And when we were talking about this, I say, I don't understand why there is no one flow that goes end to end, because he, as a talent buyer, needs to do the same thing. Needs to connect with artists, even emerging artists. They don't need to be famous, right? Needs to connect with emerging artists or with the booking agents, and need to start this trade with them, and then need to go to the venue, and then you need to find maybe for the contract. Then you need to sell the tickets, and everything goes all over the place. And it was like, yeah, I like what you're doing, because it seems like I can go in one place, and that's where I feel home. Like I can do everything I have to do, right? So he's not
like an office.
Yeah, he's not an artist. He's or at least it doesn't work. I guess as a professional artist, but as a talent buyer organizing events for him would be super important. I say, yeah, I know, because I don't think it's super complex and he can do in one flow. But the same thing is a talent buyer, but the same thing can be done by independent musicians. So what does it mean, all of that? It means that the more you simplify the process, the more an independent musician doesn't have all this layer of understanding of how it works, because you find everything in one place. So I think I'm good enough to play in a gig. I organize my gig, 50, 100 people. That doesn't need to be much. I start, and or I just play in the park, but it's kind of an event, right? And I start doing my own things. And then, yes, at some point, maybe I become famous and I need someone that had me managing some part, and I will have a booking agent. But now a lot of artists struggle before having an agent, because the whole process is hard. The whole that we discussed before, like networking, but also the administrative part, like how do I get there?
Yeah, sorry, the camera just turned off. Whatever. One of the hardest parts, for example, for getting a gig as a small artist without a booking agent, I think it's also a problem for the booking agents themselves. Well, you have like let's say I want to do a concert on the 20th of September. Then you have to send emails to all of them. Do you have a slot on the 20th of September? Yes or no? Yes. And they say like, no, but the 19th. And the other one says, no, but the 21st. And if that will be just available, you go to like the venue and says available dates, and then you click on the day you want to play, and you say, hello, this is my profile as a band, we want to play there, and everything is already there, so you don't have to really do much more than sending a message like, hey, we're looking to play here on this date, and then the venue person gets, okay, there's a band in this style, they have this amount of followers, they look like this, and they want to play a concert, and maybe already when you're a band and you have to organize a concert with other bands, you already put them together. Like you can create like an event. It's like, it's with this band, this profile of Weavii, this other band. So we are 3 together. We want to play on that day on that venue. Yeah, is that all right? And then the day was already free, and the venue guy has to say, okay, another day in which people are coming here and selling drinks and paying tickets. Yeah. Confirm.
Yes.
Then comes the contracts,
and that's it.
And that's it.
It could be done very easy. That's actually what we're aiming for. And I mean, we're talking about music, but look, music our first target group. But we're looking at performance and visual arts, because again, same thing. There are multiple aspects of this in all the verticals, and I would love. So, for example, I've been to an event, to several events where you were just it was not a concert, it was not a gallery, it was an experience. And there were painters, illustrators, photographers, musicians all in one room, and it was like an experience.
Wow.
And that's amazing because like it's we're not talking about like art is also it's culture, but also it's storytelling, right?
Yeah.
So you have a project because you want to tell a story, okay, and now you hire 5 disciplines across art, 5 different disciplines. You have a budget, you reallocate the budget across the different artists. You ask people, of course, to pay a ticket, or you have sponsors, can work in different ways, and you create an experience. You have a storytelling about one topic that you care about.
Yeah.
And this was lovely. Like I love these kind of things because I think having 2 artists that take the same point from a different perspective, like from a different craft, because one is music and the other is painting and the other is sculpture, that is photography, and you put them together and they actually share idea and they created this whole story together. Well, maybe you put out also like a producer that help with the continuity of the story across different arts. These are amazing projects. And by the way, coming back to the previous point that we discussed, when big corporates are starting to understand that, this is exactly what big companies in the US are doing in a specific city. They understand that instead of putting $1 million or like let's say not $1 million, let's say 100K into marketing activities like a social media or any kind of other marketing. Communities are like connecting with the communities of like large cities. For example, some projects I've seen were in Chicago, were giving them more effects, more interaction, more engagement than actually marketing with the same amount of money they were spending. What they were doing, we were creating a public projects like on a venue, like on a place that was either sometimes public, sometimes private, and involving different kind of artists to tell a story that resonates with the community. So the community was connected with the artist, was connected with the craft, the masterpiece, like the wall production, the wall event, and this was having a huge effect because now the brand was associating himself with the work that they have with the artist, and so the brand, the consumer, or like the viewer, the users were associating the brand with the art. So the brand didn't become only like something that sells, but also someone that inspires. And this is really not well explored. I think there is a huge opportunity. It's a blue ocean here, but you don't need to have a huge art. We're talking about local emerging artists that they were using to engage with the community.
It feels a little bit like the Red Bull approachment to sports, right?
Exactly.
It's not that they're trying to sell you more energy drinks. Now it's a totally different thing. But they started to like go into that. Okay, let's create a sport now, like, or support this weird extreme sport or something.
Yeah.
And that makes you feel more like, okay, these companies allowing these people to have a living, and we are going to those concerts. And also Jägermeister was organizing one concert from one of my favorite bands, and it was like the coldest concert ever, and they made this band to play in the northern point of Norway, and the stage was ice, and
nice. Amazing.
And they were promoting Jägermeister, and I was like, fuck yeah. I know that will not make me buy more Jägermeister, but that will make me think, okay, this is not an evil corporation. They're supporting music. They're supporting art. It's like the image of them gets very cleaner, I think.
It's branding at the end. Like you don't need, it's not about buying the product. It's about, because look, a lot of brands now are evolving in being more than the product. Like for you made the perfect example is Red Bull. Red Bull are with drinks, but like Red Bull is everything. He has sport clubs. He has sportive that do, like, he organize events. Like Red Bull organize a lot of events. So that's the perfect example. Like the brands are understanding that it's not about what they just do as a main business vertical, but is also creating a buzz around them in terms of what they represent, what kind of image they have. And then yes, maybe they at some point they sell more of that product. For example, Apple does this when they present the products, they use artists. When they present the iPad, they always use artists because it's a product for artists, right? But they don't tell you, oh, you can do that. No, you have a video with the artist doing it, and that's how you resonate with that, right? You wanna be the artist too, and you wanna buy you wanna buy the iPad. So it's automotive, for example. Automotive is moving into a direction where like the car at some point won't be as much needed as now. Like we are going more into sharing, embedded infrastructure and everything, right? So the automotive companies know that they need to engage with their audience in a different way and offer a whole set of services, like across other interests of the people. Maybe somehow related with the car, but taking it a bit more large, like embracing more topics. And they're trying to do that, and they like using art is like some of them try to use art, but again it's not mainstream. There is a gap also here in understanding, because there are no data, no information. Some did it, but again it's quite recent. If you think one of the in the modern world, of course, but one of the most recent was Andy Warhol in New York. That it was the first pop artist using art to represent also product and brands, and he collaborated with Pepsi. He collaborated with a lot of big brands at that time, but again, it never became mainstream, but actually it was super effective for Pepsi. I think it was Pepsi to collaborate with Andy Warhol, because he was famous. He was a pop artist. He was working on a lot of different kind of branches of art and collaborations. Again, there is a huge potential here that you don't need to work with Eminem to do that. You can work with local artists. And work on the concept of the art rather than the name of the artist itself.
It sounds like there's a lot of things to be done, and for those things to be done, you have to put into the same table different types of interests. You know, the artists want to play more, want to grow their fan base, and they want to earn money. Brands need to connect to society somehow, and a good way of doing that is events with artists. And then we have the third part of the places that need to be filled with people interacting and buying beer and being there. If I have a venue or a rock bar or something, and I don't know what's happening next week, it's a very insecure business model. But if through an app, I know that from here until the next 3 months, everything is booked and these people have fans and they're going to bring people, that's a way more secure and successful business model, to be more connected to the artist. And if an artist cannot play, for example, they book something and then they're sick or they have an accident or something, then it should be super easy to get another artist or a quick replacement. And I think also for the professionals, like light technicians, sound engineers and all that, it will be really easier to have also a profile, not only as an artist,
of course,
but for the art band, okay, we need a sound engineer and we have this amount of money. Who is available for that amount of money on that date, on that city?
They are part of for us of the concept of artist. When I say artist, is like what revolves around the product, the artistic production performances. Also technicians and audio engineers, all this kind of thing.
That's really, I'm looking forward for that. So are you having like a release plan? Like how is it already public?
No, like the website, yes, can be people can already subscribe to the waiting list. We're gonna be live by the end of this month. We are almost done, and we will do a beta testing. So the platform will be closed at the beginning, so we will slowly onboard people, and the people that are already inside can invite other people. It's a way for us to create a community, to make a place that is valuable for the artists first, because we think artists want that there are other artists they actually can work with, and so who invites will refer someone that he thinks or she thinks is valuable for that community.
Yeah.
We want to grow the community first. And then of course test the platform, technicalities in terms of loading and everything. So you want to say everything works smooth. At some point we will open the platform, of course, but again, first thing we're gonna be only for artists. I think at the end of this month we will release the full MVP. I mean, it's not a full product because from there on there is a long journey of iteration and development. But we are trying to encourage artists are ready to. First of all the ones that are talking with us are already connecting and are already part, or like they want to be part of it. I have a lot of artists that are looking forward to find collaborations, bands, producer. So I encourage to go because you will find these people already
I will
there.
do.
And then you can, of course, create profiles and invite your people. If you're collaborating with people, you can show what you're doing. You can receive feedback, or you can get on your work in progress. You can get inspired by what the others are doing. And as soon as the community, what we think is that as soon as the community is big enough on local level, and I explain you why, we will open to business. At local level, because if I'm a business that wants to hire an artist, I need to have a choice. Because if there is only one musician, let's say I have 1,000 musicians, but in Berlin there is only 2, and I'm a business in Berlin, I don't really have a choice, right? So we try to also give a possibility to connect with more musicians for more businesses in one location. So that's why we're starting in Berlin. We are connected also with Indonesia, so they because we have some partnership there. So there will be the possibility to have some connection with the artists there as soon as we start onboarding them. And and then we will start collecting feedback and data from the platform, because at the end we want to serve the artists. The artists for us is the center, the industry, they play also the business and work around that, and we'll move forward from there. I think that's pretty much it. The platform it's gonna be it's gonna be an MVP. So the beginner at the beginning we wish to have adopted. They actually provide a lot of feedback to us, because I know I work in the tech industry since a while, so I know that the concept of product market fit is harder. The platform never eat the product at the beginning, but if you have strong teams with the user-centric approach, you can tailor the platform to the artist, or like to your user. In this case, artists. So we want to receive a lot of feedback in the platform. There is a way always to provide feedback to us, and we'll really read this stuff when it's out. And I'm really looking forward to see what's the reaction and how the people see, or like what's the feedback for the platform. In the meantime, we are doing what the platform is supposed to be manually, because I'm matching musician to musician. The other day I found a band for the wedding of a friend of mine. It was super interesting because I can see it from inside because I was in the loop. So it was also a lot of knowledge, and from my side I was learning, and I did it multiple times, and I see they appreciate. But by the way, individuals, the high artists is also another chunk of the market that is quite big, like for wedding, for parties, private parties, for birthdays, all these kind of things. That's also another thing, and that's gonna be super easy. Once the artists are there, it's gonna be super easy for them to actually find artists for these kind of gigs. So yeah, looking forward.
Me too. I'm gonna do a profile. I wanted to do it earlier, but I didn't. I don't know why. But I'm gonna try it out and send it to my friends and see what's up. And I already see it, for example, as a tool for finding my next guest in the podcast.
Yeah.
Checking out the artists if I feel they have something to tell. And I don't want to talk to only artists since I started before I started the project. I wanted to do the podcast to talk with artists and venue owners and business people like managers or everybody who is around of this, because there's so many multiple sides of the story to hear.
Of course.
And there's nothing of, I think sometimes it is, but most of the time it is not us against them kind of thing. Sorry.
Of course. Bless you.
Sorry.
Bless you.
Thank you. I want to connect first like music lovers and fans to the artist, and artist to artist, and business people with the artist and the audience. So like to this. So this table, not I hope I get a smaller table. It's open for that type of interaction, and
of course,
if you want to send me someone, send them to me. You already sent me JJ, and we're making music together, which that was great. That was like a one-on-one thing, but I feel the spirit of your project with Weavii. How many people is there in Weavii?
Like in the waiting list?
No, like working on it.
Working. We are 3 people.
Nice, that's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work because as soon as we launch, we aim to get funding and scale. Our goal is to scale. We're already moving the needle on this side, but finger crossed. Let's see how it goes.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is first we want to serve the artist, but first we need to see some traction, right? That the people like you or other artists are using the platform, they enjoy it, they share things, they collaborate. If that's gonna be true, I think we will embark in a very hard, but also very satisfying and nice and exciting journey to change a bit how the industry works. I mean, and not to revolutionize the industry, but to make it way more efficient, way more connected, which is at the end our
That's what it
goal.
needs. That's really what it needs. And
yeah.
I wish you the best, and looking forward to get the updates. And do you have social media stuff?
Yeah, well, we have you can connect to them through our website. That is Weavii. Is written WEAVII.io. There are our social media. There is our LinkedIn page. There is our Instagram channel. We're gonna soon open also Twitter, and so you can connect to the social media there. You can request access as an artist there. You can already specify what kind of artist you are. You will receive all information by email on what we're doing. And I mean, no newsletter, no spamming, just introduction.
Yeah.
And on Instagram, the channel is called Weavii, written as I said, HQ. So
I will put everything on the description of the chapter.
Perfect.
And all the Spotify, YouTube, and everything. And nice to have you here, man.
Thanks. It was my pleasure. Thanks, Diego.
Yeah.
Super nice.
Nice.